Absolutely. As long as we fail to address what racism is head on, it will simply continue to be rebranded, along with all of the other isms like classism, sexism, etc. And we've seen this rebranding, and racism is an explicit example of the rebranding from slavery to Jim Crow, from Jim Crow to mass incarceration. And we've also seen on the opposing sides all the rebrands, from abolitionists to civil rights activists, from civil rights activists to DEI, from DEI to now companies trying to rebrand whatever it's going to be to try to have their culture equity part of their culture still. I haven't commented on when it made a splash that SHRM removed equity from its DEI and replaced it with civility. And I saw a lot of people get upset about that for understandable reasons. To me, that's not the part that matters, and it's nothing new. Because I research the unwritten rules of work, so what I see is the same unwritten rules persisting, they're just being rebranded. And the hard truth that not many of us are willing to face, and I admit I was like this for the majority of my life, is that until we address these things head on, the unwritten rules will persist, and they will harm the groups that they are intended to harm. And there's this prevalent idea we see floating around that if you need DEI or whatever you want to call it in whichever era, you can't keep up in a normal work environment. And I know this idea because I have ears, and also because I used to believe it. I didn't understand it before until I got out of my bubble and moved to new places and moved up into, higher status environments and was like, what the hell's going on here? This isn't the same culture that's in my hometown. I've joked before, this isn't the same kind of white people. The idea that some people just can't keep up in normal work environments is fundamentally flawed. For the people who think this, realize you are not more logical, you are not more reasonable, and just other people can't see it. You're likely incredibly sheltered and ignorant of environments where the unwritten rules are not written for you. If you only see the world one way, you have likely only been in places where the unwritten rules aligned with your cultural norms. Most, if not all of them. And that's very hard to see because we don't perceive our own cultures as cultures. We just perceive them as normal and the way things are. You have the privilege of thinking of DEI as this separate thing from work that somebody's bringing in instead of realizing it is already present in every part of life. It just hasn't affected you yet. Here's the reality. Diversity is inherently a part of work. There will always be people who are different, who have different experiences, and who are often mistreated or misunderstood without intentional efforts to make them included. And anytime you have been in an environment that did not have different people, especially in the US with so much difference, they were intentionally kept out or unintentionally due to policies that have been grandfathered in that intentionally kept them out. If you think it is normal to be in a work environment where everybody is the same as you, and that other people aren't there for totally valid reasons or they just choose not to be, you need to think on the underlying belief that that upholds. Whether you want to consciously process it or not, that idea that homogenous work environments are just the way things are is connected to the underlying belief that you think your group is better for this work and these benefits than other groups, that your group is more deserving than other groups of this job and the benefits. But the good news is you don't have to stay this way. Nobody is doomed to be a bigot, although we might be born into it. Many of us are born, all of us are born with biases, but we have the power to unlearn these harmful environments. I can tell you this with certainty because I've been there. I've realized that I've held that belief before, and I've consistently had to fight against it because it is, I don't know if it ever completely goes away. You just learn to recognize it and act against it. I've come to terms with it, digging deeper into myself and how environments work. And ultimately, this led to why I work so hard to write down unwritten rules and to spread awareness about them. Because sticking a prettier name on the package doesn't change what's inside.